It's unbelievable, actually. It is just unbelievable. And I'm just shocked by it. I'm just really shocked by this. I am. Anyway, so let's see if this is working right here. There we go. Yeah, it's working right. We're good. All right. Now, let me go over here. We're going to get busy. For the first thing we're going to do is this. We have a timeline. We have this all together. I've watched all the different news stories, heard everybody talking about it. I went and found out who owns what, just the whole, all of it. So let's get up and get started on this. Number one, the first thing we're going to do is talk about 16 counts, 16 children, one house for adults. We're not going to start with rumors or speculations. We're going to start with the charges, the ages, the names, what's real, what's not real, the address, where it came from, all of that, how it started. So let's go ahead and use our fair use. Get down here and do that for it. So this live stream contains commentary, analysis, and criticism protected under fair use. All individuals discussed are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. All information presented is sourced from publicly available news reports, booking records, and official statements. This content is for educational and documentary purposes only. These are just my opinions and nobody else's opinions. So with that, we're going to just go ahead and call that our fair use underneath. Well, and all individuals named or referenced in this broadcast are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, allegations described herein are drawn from publicly available filings, official complaints, and verified news reports. This program does not assert guilt, nor does it substitute for judicial proceedings. The purpose of this presentation is to inform, educate, and encourage public awareness of legal processes and the social issues surrounding child protection and criminal accountability. So any opinions expressed during this broadcast are those of the host and are offered as protected commentary under the First Amendment. Viewers are encouraged to consult official court records and verified news sources for updates and outcomes. All statements are made in good faith and based on information available at the time of this recording. This content is not sponsored, endorsed, or affiliated with any law enforcement agency, news outlet, or government entity. All trademark, logos, and copyrighted materials remain the property of their respective owners. So that is what we're going to go with tonight for our fair use. Now, let's go on over here and start talking about it. What we have are Gary Siders Sr., he's 73 years old. Christina Siders is age 67. Gary Siders Jr. is age 36. And Elizabeth Siders is age 33. They each face 16 counts of felony child endangerment and other charges. This happened at an address known as 182 Omar Road, Hampton, Ohio, and the date that started was June the 30th, 2026. Now, I'm going to go pull this document up, and I'm going to share it with you so you can see exactly what I'm seeing. Okay, here we go. Now, let me share my screen. I always like to make sure you see what I see, so I only have all receipts and everybody is on the same page. So here we go. Now, this is the actual document. This is the actual document right here. I wonder if I can make this bigger. Let me see. Well, I don't know. Somewhere, maximize. Oh, looky there. You can make it bigger. All right, so I'm going to put that right there so you guys can see that. And I'm going to come over and read this. So this is what we have from the state of Ohio in the Common Pleas Court of Benton. Gary Siders. Date of birth is 4/19/1953. Complaint, endangering children, F2, 2919.22B1, 2919.22E2D, on or about June the 30th, 2026, at 182 Omar, Hampton, Ohio. Complaint being duly sworn and states that Gary Siders of Hampton, Benton County, Ohio, on or about June 30th, 2026, unlawfully did abuse CS. Date of birth is 5/30/2008, a child under the age of 18 years of age, 5/30/2008, in violation of 2919.22, 2919.22E, B, D, 1, and endangering child and children. Furthermore, the violation resulted in serious physical harm to CS. This offense is contrary to the form of the statute in such a case made and provided against the peace and dignity and the laws of the states of Ohio. Now, count 2 is endangering another child at the same address but the initials are different and the date of birth is different. So on this child, the date of birth is ZS. The date of birth is 8/17/2009. Then we have another child with a date of birth, because all the charges are the same, but the date of birth of this child is 3/13/2011, and the initials are CS. And I'm so glad they're not naming any names or showing any pictures. These children need to be protected. So the next date, it's the same charges, and this is going to be in count 4, is the date of birth was 3/28/2012, and the initials are KS. Count 5, we have the exact same charges, same place. Date of birth is 5/8/2013, and his initials are BS. We have count 6, which is the exact same charges. Date of birth is 9/2/2014, and the initials are GS. Count 7, the exact charges. Initials are LS. Date of birth is 5/25/2016. Count number 8 is going to be the exact same charges to a child that was born 10/26/2017 with the initials of BS. Count 9 is going to be the same charges to a child born 10/27/2019 with JS. Now, I believe that is one of the sets of twins right there. Okay, then we have another count 10 is going to be the same charges. The date of birth is 9/29/2020, and the initials are ES. Then we have count 11, which the date of birth is 2/10/2022, and the initials are NS. Then we have count 12. Another date of birth is 2/10/2022, which is another one of these supposed twins, SS. Count 13 is going to be for a child born 1/21/2025, and it is listed as John Doe A. Okay. Then we have count number 14 to a child born 1/21/2025 that is known as John Doe B. Okay. Then we have count 15, which is to another child. Hang on a second. Now, this complaint is to Gary Siders on June 30, 2026. Did abuse blank, a child 18 years of age, unknown in violation, endangering children. The violation resulted in serious physical harm to, I'm not going to name the name. Okay. Then we have another charge, count 16, of on June the 30th, 2026, did abuse blank, a child under 18 years of age and unknown in violation. The violation resulted in serious physical harm to, I'm not going to say their name. And then we have count 17, endangering a child. On June 30th, 2026, did abuse blank, a child under 18 years of age, unknown in violation, endangering a child, and I'm not going to name the name of the child. So there are those charges for, and this is just the charges for Gary Siders. Gary Siders. This is just his. And his date of birth was 4/1953. So this is what they are charging Gary Sr. with, okay? Not Gary Jr., but Gary Sr. has been charged with these charges. That is his 7-page count right here. So that is that part. Now let's go on down and come back over here. I'll leave that right there for you. Well, actually, no, I think I'm going to take this down some so we can see both of us. There we go. I know I'm tiny, but I just want y'all to see that. So there is the charges for Gary Sr. Now, I don't have the charges for Gary Jr. I'm going to assume that they're all going to kind of be the same, but just each person is going to be the name, okay? So let's go ahead and get on down here and start talking about this. Now, this was filed, okay, got that part. Let's talk about the timeline of events in this situation. So what we do know for a fact is that, let me pull this back up over here. This is, okay, now let me get it back over here. There's another case, there's another, let me pull this up from my email that I sent myself. Well, yeah, I'll get it from over here. Hang on a second. Let's pull this up from over here, and it's going to be Gary, how this all kind of started. Let's get back over here to Gary Jr., Gary Seitz Jr. charges. Because this actually stemmed from something completely different that was actually shown on Facebook, of all places, is where we found this other charge. So let me get this over here. Okay. Now, let me pull this up over here. All right, not that one. I think I'm going to go get this other one because that's not the one I really want. I'm going to get the other one. There is so much information out here. It is amazing. All of the different people that have talked about this, and here we go. You see this update right here. Okay, let's see. Parallel. It's a parallel investigation. All right, so let me get over here and see this. So somewhere down here, there is a picture. I came across this earlier of this other investigation. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on a minute. I know where it's at. Just a minute. I'm not going to show that. Let's go ahead and pull it up from over here. I forgot that I had saved it to my computer. Hello, dummy. Right. Let's open this. All right, let me pull this up. Documents. Documents. There we go. Okay, let me pull this up from over here while we talk about this, because we're going to go through this timeline, when it started, when they did this, when they did the next thing, and then what happened next, and just going down like that, because it's moving kind of slow. The whole thing is moving slow, but everybody will get what they deserve out of this situation. So let me get this pulled up to my desktop. Come on, why is it not opening? Oh my God, this drives me insane. Okay, here we go. Close that window. All right, now. Here we go. Get this over here just a second, guys. I get my downloads that I just made over here. So here we go. Downloads. Here we go. All right, let me show them all. See more. Now, that's the criminal complaint for him. That's their arrest. Here we go. This one right here. Right here. Okay, here we go. Now, I don't know if you can see this very well. I'm going to try to blow this up some. Okay, now get over here to the streamer. Let me change this out. I'm going to show you this other thing that we have right here. Here we go. This is going to be from, oh, wait a minute. That doesn't look the same. It's from the window. Hello, right there. Now, I don't know if you can see this very well, but here it is. It's right here. Now, this is how this all actually started, was with this guy right here. Let me get back over here. Let me see. How come I can't? Let me get this. I'm going to make this bigger so we can actually see it. Oh, escape. Not that big. Well, that's a little wild, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So this is actually how it started. And there he is right there. I need to get the other one. I don't really want to show that part. So let's get back over here where we were. We'll just show it a different way because I don't like the way that looks. It's too big. You can't really see it, and I don't like it. So here we go. Exit the full screen. Okay, there we go. We'll just get rid of that right there. But this is from Facebook. And let me go ahead and kind of read this over here to you. And I was shocked when I found that. I was like, what? So apparently what happened was this guy is out here in public doing things he should not be doing, is how this case really started. But that's not even the whole truth, because apparently there's another situation that was going on that we found out, that they had found stolen property on their property. Okay, so over at the house where they lived, they had found some stolen property from a job site on their property, and they were starting to build this case on that. But they also had this guy over here, and he was in public doing things he shouldn't be doing. So let me pull this back up over here. There was, I think, 5 different dates of him indecent exposure over here. So let me pull this up. Okay, I need my little place over here now. Come on, get it right here. All right, now go back over there. Get over there. Okay, it's right here. Now, here we go. So apparently, on 5 different dates, he was public indecency, and this was Junior over here. This is part of his complaints from Gary Siders, and his date of birth is 9/28/1989. So we have many different times where he is May the 23rd, 2026, public indecency. May the 27th, 2026, public indecency. There's a few more of these charges. I need to go find them all. Let me get back on Facebook and pull these back up. I was so shocked when I saw this. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Because when you see when you see where they're saying this happened at the house, who saw them? Okay, if nobody ever went over there and nobody knew anything, who saw them doing this? Who made this complaint? Why? Okay, that something is just not right about how these complaints were made. So let me pull this up over here. So it's Gary Sites Jr. Okay, indecent exposure. I mean, how does it go from indecent exposure to 16 kids being found? When you think about it that way, it's like, okay, what are they leaving out about this whole story? Because something is being left out. Okay, here we go. Let's pull up all of his charges. Okay, okay, here we go. So this all took place in May. The charges were indecent exposure charges stem from incidents on May 23rd, 2 times, on May the 27th and May the 29th, 2026, where Siders was accused of exposing himself on his property to people outside the house. So apparently there were people outside the house and he starts exposing himself. What's the reason? I have no idea. But a warrant for his arrest was then made and these charges were issued. And this was happened on June 29th, 2026. And he was served with this warrant on June the 30th, 2026. This is when they actually discovered that these kids were in this home. Now, there's been a lot of talk about, oh, nobody knew those kids were there. That's not exactly true either. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that straight right now. So we know that on June the 30th, this complaint was filed, and then July the 1st, they went out there and they started arresting everybody. On July the 2nd, they did their arraignment and their bond hearings. And then on July the 3rd, the prosecutor started making statements about it's not human trafficking, it's intra-family neglect, okay? So they wanted to make sure that was straight. Then we have confirmed who actually owned this house, and it is not the people who live there. They don't own any part of this house. I'm going to show you the property records. So it's called the report card. I'm going to show you that. So let's go ahead and share our screen over here so you can see that part. I like to show everything to everybody. Make sure we see everything. There we go. So let me show you about the property, the report card for this property. This is the property here. Okay, now make sure you can see it. All right. There is the report. This is who owns this property. It's all about the property that they were living in, that they were arrested at, etc. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this up and read it real quick. So y'all will all know who owns the house. They don't own the house. Okay, this property at 183 Omar Street is a single family dwelling, and it is actually owned by the Margaret Cabron Trust. Okay, this is owned by a trust. It has been owned by a trust for many years. In fact, you see when the last deed was done on this property. Hang on just a second. Guys, I'll be able to tell you that. We know the appraised value, we know the square footage, we know all of that. But yes, it is owned by a trust. The trustee is Margaret Tabron. She does not live in that house. She actually lives on a different street in the same city, okay, in Benton. She does. So let me show you something else about this. I'm going to try to blow this up right here. This is the actual floor plan of this house. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you. Hang on. There is a right here. I'm going to show you something. Okay. Now, when they talk about, let me put my sketch back over here. Okay. Let me see if you can see it. Can you see it? Yeah, see that right there? This is the actual house right here. See this? See everything in blue right there? That is the 12 by 16 room these kids were in. This is the area where the kids were staying in this part right here. And it was discussed that there was a lot of this house that was not usable, the floor is falling through, it was in really bad condition. But yes, all of those kids were stuck in this room right here, the blue area. Okay, I hope you can see that right there. So that is where the kids were found in this area. I'm pretty sure it was dark, and they said it was pretty disgusting, and I'm pretty sure it was. There's so many things about this case that doesn't make a lot of sense. So there's that part. Let me take this off of here now that I've shown you that. So I'm going to get that off, and we're going to go on down. And of course, we've seen the criminal complaints. We've seen that. We've seen that what his charges actually were. And I'm going to pull this up over here. Now let me share the screen for this one, okay? Just make sure everybody's on the same page. We've all seen the same thing. And then we're going to go start talking about the different things that are rumors versus facts, because there's a lot of them. You know that as soon as a case like this happens and everybody starts talking about it, that's the first thing that happens. You start getting a rumors versus facts situation. So let's get on up here and we're going to look at them. Who is Gary and Elizabeth? Well, this is Gary and Elizabeth right here, okay? Let's take a look at them. I wish all these commercial things weren't here, but they are, and I can't do anything about them. So according to WOWK13, their marriage records, because they actually are married, from Mason County Courthouse in West Virginia show that Gary Siders Jr., who is now 36, and Elizabeth Siders, who is now 33, were married in March 31st of 2008 when they were 18 and 15 years old. Okay, this needs to go away. Why is that there? Well, okay, let me see if I can just play that. I don't know why it's playing there. Here we go. Let me get back over here and play this part for you. So, okay, all right, is it this one? All right, let me get the sound on.
In age from 1.5 to 18, lived in a small room for the last 4 years, hidden from view.
The evidence shows that these folks were pretty good.
I know you've probably seen this, but I really want to show every part for the
Part
facts.
of the reason they were hiding these kids is they knew that these kids were neglected. They knew that if anybody actually knew what was going on, these kids probably would have been removed, and they would have lost. They would have lost the kids.
Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson is talking about Gary Siders Sr., Gary Siders Jr., Christina Siders, and Elizabeth Siders, who are now in jail charged with felony child endangerment. Deputies happened upon the children on Tuesday morning while serving a search warrant in what Wilson calls a parallel investigation.
Something unrelated. It wasn't about the welfare of these 16 kids. At that point, we didn't know.
Okay, what this parallel investigation was, okay, we know that he did some indecent exposure at people, but that was because they came to this house for a different reason, and it had something to do with this stolen property that was on their property, and they were investigating that. That is how this all started. And then I'm sure they come up onto the property, and then he starts acting an ass as usual, and they charge him with, because he's, what he's doing. It's already been discussed. But anyway, we're gonna let this play through, so hold on just a second.
That there was going to be 16 kids there.
A Facebook post from the Vinton County Sheriff's Office says deputies were executing court-authorized search warrants as part of an investigation involving allegations of domestic abuse and child neglect. I filed a request seeking a copy of the warrant in the unrelated case, but learned today it's been sealed by court order.
Right.
Vinton County Sheriff Ryan Kane says the children's limited ability to communicate is making the situation even harder to investigate.
That's one of the challenges we're facing.
I want you to look at that. Look at that right there. I mean, if this is what you're seeing through an open door, you can imagine what the rest of this house looks like and what these children were living in. Now they're living in that, it's been said that they did not have running water in that house. Now that I cannot verify yes or no. I don't, because they talked about that the condition of the one bath, that has one bathroom in that house, but the condition of that one bathroom was that it was not usable, and that it was, the commode was actually filled with things anyway. So that appeared to make it look like they did not have running water. I cannot verify that or not, but here we go.
That's why there's kind of contributes to a lack of information. It's one of the investigative challenges we have to face is that they are limited. They can't communicate, but it's extremely limited, and some not at all.
Now, prior to moving into the house in Vinton County, a house owned by the trust of an elderly woman who died last year, it appears that the Siders spent time in Gallia, Pike, and Jackson County, and possibly up in Wisconsin. Todd Dykes, WWT News 5.
So we're gonna stop with that one. All right, get rid of that. Now, back over here. Get back over here. Okay, so let's start talking about the rumors versus the facts that we know of, because there have been said that there was CSAMs found on one of the phones. I heard this on other channels. I don't know where they got the information from, because I've not been able to find anything that supports that there was actually CSAM found on a phone of either one of these people that's been told to us by any law enforcement, right? And the way I see it is, if I don't hear this from law enforcement, then how am I going to say it's a fact, right? To me, that would be a rumor. So if anybody knows where this information actually came from, that it is a fact, I would like to have that information so we can correct our facts versus rumors. So we will look at one more time to see if anything has been listed about this being found on phones. Okay, let me look one more time while we're sitting here and go ahead and make sure, because I don't want to leave something out that's pretty important. Because if that was going on, then you can imagine what else was going on. So as of July 2026, authorities have not filed any CSAM or charges against Gary Siders Jr. The initial rumors linking his phone to CSAM stemmed from the a viral social media post that confused details of his case with an entirely separate, unrelated investigation. The specific facts regarding his phone and current charges include, and let me see what it says right here. Okay, it's just talking about his indecent exposure charges. So no, I cannot verify that there was any type of CSAM records on his phone. Now, we're going to go back to the next thing. So that tells us that is a rumor, okay, period, that's it. Now, then there was also something about proof of life photos. Now, why would there be proof of life photos? As we know, nobody's passed away. The only mention of cell phone evidence from the prosecution indicates the investigators recovered proof of life photos that children on the suspect's phone. These images are being used to establish how long the children were kept hidden, okay? And the active charges. Now, active charges Siders Jr. faces 4 misdemeanor counts of public indecency and exposure and 16 felony counts of endangering children. That is fact. Now, let's go back to the next thing. Rumor versus fact. This was human trafficking. That is a rumor. The prosecution has explicitly stated it was not. It has nothing to do with trafficking. There was never any discussion of trafficking. Rumor, the grandparents aren't responsible. Fact, all 4 adults are facing identical charges and sentencing exposure. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to talk about is what would the sentences look like for these charges. Okay, that's the next thing we're going to talk about. Let me straighten my thing out over here. So, let me go back down here. For endangering the child, serious physical harm, which is 2919.22B or 2919.22E, that is a felony too. Okay, so let me pull this back up and tell you exactly what the length of time is. So on a felony 2, you're looking at 2 to 8 years per count as the sentencing. Endangering a child, neglect without injury, which is 2919.22B1, which is a misdemeanor 1, you're up to 180 days in jail. Public indecency, 2907.09, felony 5, you're looking at 6 to 12 months. And he had, I believe, 4 or 5 of those, 4 of them, right? Let's see. Now let me count how many of those he had. You're looking at a substantial amount of time that these people could end up in jail for what they have done. Now, the maximum exposure that Gary Sr. faces is 32 to 128 years in prison. 32 to 128 years, right? That's a lot. Now let's talk about the grandparents. Now, under Ohio law, custody and controlled define culpability. If the grandparents lived in the home and allowed these conditions, they face the same charges and sentencing as the parents. Age does not reduce responsibility when minors are the victims. It's very important. We need to talk about that. Now, there is something called Busted Newspaper. I don't know if it's going to let us look at this, but I'm going to open this link and let's see if we can look at it. Hang on a second, guys. See if I can put his name in here. Bookings. Start search. Let's see. Nah. All right, no, because I don't want to have to download anything, so we're not going to look at that one. Let's look at the NBC4 coverage. Let's see what they have on here. Let's see. No, actually, you know what I'm going to do instead of that? Let's do this. Let's go back to YouTube and look at YouTube because that is the safest place to get information from. And I know that all these news stories are on YouTube. So I'm going to go out to YouTube and I'm going to pull that up. And we'll talk about that for just a minute here. Okay. So let's see. I just want to give facts. This is not going to be a great long show about, I just want to talk about the facts, not the rumors, just the facts. So let me pull this up over here and let's get the news stories from just the news outlets for Gary's sites. Okay, here we go. Let's see. This is going to be Fox. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, that's the wrong person. You got to spell it right, stupid. Gary Sites Jr. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be from WBNS 10. Okay, so let me pull this up. Whoops. Okay, let me share my screen so y'all can see that part. But there's just like too many rumors that have already started, and that usually does happen in these kind of cases, right? We've seen it happen over and over. Okay, here we go. Y'all ready? Okay. Let me just get it started over here.
We got court records that show there was a warrant filed for the arrest of Gary Siders Jr. on public indecency charges. It's dated the same day that the children were found behind these walls.
Okay.
Nobody knew. Well, where it's so
All right.
close in, I understand.
Let me tell you something. They're making statements that nobody knew. That is not exactly true, because let me tell you what else is a fact. It is not a rumor. Elizabeth would go down to, and I believe it's called, it's a diaper and formula assistant. Once a week, she would go down there and she would get assistance getting diapers and formula for these children. So people knew that they had children at that house. That it was not a secret that they had children, because she was going down there to get this help. There's also talk about them taking some of the children into the dollar store and people seeing these children with them, and they kept them very close, and that they did not really talk to anybody, and they really covered their face a lot. So people did know there was children in that house. The neighbors may not have known, because they lived at the end of the road. There's railroad tracks there, and if you don't go down there, then you're not going to know there's children down there, because if you don't live at the end of the road, you have no reason to go down there. So they would go down to the end of the, nobody would know that there was kids out there for that reason. Nobody went down there. So the statement that nobody knew is not exactly the truth. That's because maybe the neighbors didn't know, but people in town knew that there was children there. Hang on, just to clear that little part up.
But it's heartbreaking.
Out for a walk with her dog, Janet Wilbur couldn't help but walk past the Siders family home.
Oh, it's just heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. It is, absolutely.
It's awful.
She and other neighbors still grappling with how 16 children could have been living inside the home in conditions that the Attorney General has called pure evil.
But you don't know, you can't do anything.
So what put the Siders family on the radar of law enforcement? Records from the Vinton.
I want y'all to take a good look at these people, all right? Just take a good look at them. Let me take myself off and see if I can make this bigger for you. Every one of them seem as if there's something extremely wrong. Now, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the urine in the home, the feces in the home, the rats in the home. Something has got every one of these people's eyes so irritated. I don't know what it is, but something is very wrong right there. All right, here, we'll keep going. Come on, there we go.
County Court show on June 29th, a request was filed for a warrant for Gary Siders Jr. The warrant was served the next day, June 30th. It lists 4 public indecency charges for incidents at the Omer Street home on May 23rd, May 27th, May 29th, and May 31st. It's unclear if this is what led investigators to the House of Horror. So far, they've only revealed a parallel investigation was underway at the time of the discovery. But regardless of how it happened, neighbors are just glad the children are now free.
They come on an unrelated charge, unrelated incident, and then they stumbled upon the kids. I'm just glad they found them, because they said in 24 hours they could have been dead.
Now,
We stopped by the Vinton County Sheriff's Office today to try to get a copy of those incident reports from the incidents with Gary Siders Jr. back in May. We're still waiting on those. In the meantime, the 4 Siders family members are all still in jail on a $300,000 bond. Reporting live in Vinton County, Carla Rogner, 10 TV News.
Now, we already know, because we've been able to read that, because that was like the day before. But let's go back over here now. Hang on a second, guys. And we're only going to look at stuff in the news. We're not going to look. Now, this is the news right here, and this is going to be from WKYC Channel 3. So let's go ahead.
We have a couple of
one.
developments to tell you about following this disturbing story out of Southern Ohio, where 16 children were found in a house of horrors, as it's being called, in Vinton County. Officials say the kids, 18 months to 18 years, were found in, quote, deplorable conditions inside a 12 by 12 room. Some were hospitalized, life-flighted, in fact, and even intubated in the ICU. Tonight, new court records show that one of the 4 family members charged in this incident already had a warrant out for their arrest. 10 TV's Carla Rogner reports.
Nobody knew. Well, where it's so close in, I understand.
Okay,
But it's
look at
hard
this
to-
house.
Out for a walk with
Now, I know we've seen that under, but when you go back and you look at that house and you're going, how in the world did 20 people, 16 kids and 4 adults live in that house? There are discussions that part of the floor was falling through, and that with the parts in the house, there were parts in the house that you couldn't even live in. So it's really questionable what and how they all lived in this house. Were they all just sleeping on the floor? I mean, what's really going on here? So much of it has been sealed. We're not going to get that information. And I think that's sad because I think we don't need to see the children's names. We don't need to see their faces. We will make sure they're protected, but we do need to see exactly how bad is it that how bad were the conditions inside that house? Were they? That's important, right? It's important. Here we
her
go.
dog. Janet Wilberg couldn't help but walk past the Siders family home.
Oh, it's just
Okay,
heartbreaking.
so we're going to go to the next one. Hold on. We've already heard that one. Now let's go to the next one. Let me make this small because I want to make sure we get every news station what they're going to tell us it was. Well, actually, I want to see this part down here. Now this is going to be from WBNS 10. Here we go.
Now at 6, questions remain on what tipped off investigators to the discovery of 16 children living in deplorable conditions inside a Vinton County home. Tonight, we're pushing for answers. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6 on the air and on the stream. I'm Javeyah Harris.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Authorities made that discovery Tuesday after getting a search warrant for the home. They arrested 4 members of the Siders family. All are charged with 16 counts of endangering children. Law enforcement was working on an unrelated investigation and did not expect to find those kids there.
Well, we have live team coverage tonight. We're going to start with 10 TV's Carla Rogner.
And she is live in Vinton County right now. Carla, what are you learning tonight?
Hang on, we're going to go past her because
Investigators have been tight-lipped.
Okay, here we go. We watched
Arrest of Gary Siders Jr. on public indecency charges. It's dated
Let
the
it play.
same day that the children were found behind these walls.
Nobody knew. Well,
Well,
where
they
it's
did
so
know.
close in, I understand.
I mean, the neighbors did
But
not
it's
know,
heartbreaking.
but other people did. Here we go.
Breaking.
Okay, let's go past that. All right.
In conditions that the Attorney General has called pure evil.
But you don't know, you can't do anything.
So what put the Siders family on the radar of law enforcement? Records from the Vinton County Court show on June 29th, a request was filed for a warrant for Gary Siders Jr. The warrant was served the next day, June 30th. It lists 4 public indecency charges for incidents at the Omer Street home on May 23rd, May 27th, May 29th, and May 31st.
Now, doesn't this bring a lot of questions to you as to who saw this and who filed the complaint? Because I don't think anybody inside that house made that complaint. This had to stem from them coming out to the house to look at the complaint of the parallel of some stolen property being found on their yard, in their property over there where they were living. Something to do with something off a construction site that I believe he either worked at or actually, it's a long story and we don't know the whole thing because now a lot of this information has been sealed, and I understand why. It's because of these children. But here we go, we'll let it play.
It's unclear if this is what led investigators to the House of Horror. So far, they've only revealed a parallel investigation was underway at the time of the discovery. But regardless of how it happened, neighbors are just glad the children are now free.
I mean, well, we're going to go past that. I don't want to talk about that anymore. When you look at the inside of that house, it's really, really shocking. Well, look at the outside. Look at all the crap in the yard. Okay, so that is the end of that
$1,000 bond. Reporting live in Vinton County, Carla Rogner, 10 TV.
Now, I doubt that any one of those people are going to make this $300,000 bond. Where are they going to get that money from, right? Now, this is going to be, hang on a second, guys. I'm going to pull something else up over here. Okay. Take the junior off, and let's talk about just the 16 kids themselves. So hold on a minute. Okay. 16 kids. Okay. This is from 5 hours ago, and this is going to be WOWK 13 news again. I don't know if it's the exact same story, but I don't think it is. I think there's been some new information.
So shocked by the condition
Look
those
at
16
that.
children in Vinton County were living in. She's losing sleep. That's what one neighbor told us today.
These are the 4 adults who are facing child endangerment charges right now in the case. Tonight, live reporter Sarah Davis joins us from outside that home in Vinton County with reactions from neighbors. Neighbors really just cannot wrap their minds around the fact that they didn't know in some cases that children were even living in that home.
Okay, let me make sure that's not the same report.
That's right, Amanda. The residents here in Hamden, Ohio, just cannot wrap their heads around this. We actually just spoke to a guy just a few minutes ago who was driving by, and we've seen so many people also driving by. He said he simply had to see it for himself because he just really cannot believe what happened here. The 16 kids, the alleged abuse, and the condition of this house behind me. I'm going to step out of the...
Hey there, Cinderella. How you doing, girl? Good to see you. You know, always happy to see you come in. I decided to show a little bit of this tonight and do my other show tomorrow or the next day about Casey Anthony and Gypsy Rose Blanchard, because there's so many things coming on out here about this story, and some of it's rumors, some of it's facts, some of it's rumors, and I just want to set a little bit of it straight about what I know to be a fact or what I know to be a rumor, because you know what happens when we get things over here on YouTube. What's the next thing that happens? We end up with a circus of people putting out this, that, or the other, and sometimes it's not even real. It's not true. I don't know where they get their information from, but I'm just gonna put out what I know to be a fact versus what is not a fact. So anyway, that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm glad to see you. So we'll just keep going over here. Hey, if you're in the bushes, come on in. Let's talk about it, because I do want to ask people some questions. I want to know, but we'll let this play and then I'll ask it. Hang on.
The frames, you can see it a little bit better. But they also say this kind of thing just doesn't happen here ever. And we spoke with one woman who says shocking isn't even the right word for this situation. She told us she saw some of the children once at a yard sale and noticed that they were dirty.
It's just shocking. 16 kids in that kind of condition. This is going to last a long time, being shocked. It's not going to go away in a year. It's not going to go away in a couple of years. It's going to be long lasting. That's the truth.
Kessler told us that interaction has kept her upset and up at night. She's been losing sleep over this since it happened. She hasn't stopped thinking about those 16 kids and her community that's going to be affected by this for years to come. And I can tell you, out of all the days we've been here, I can actually smell a little bit of an odor coming from the house, even from the street. And we also saw 2 cats earlier taking cover under one of the cars on the property, Amanda.
All right, Sarah Davis, thank you so much for your reporting. You can follow more on your local Nexstar station's website. We can also tell you that we had the chance to speak with the court-appointed defense attorney for Gary Siders Sr., who asked people following the case to wait for evidence to be presented in court.
He's entitled to his presumption of innocence and that his guilt must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. The state needs to prove that. The facts may bear out, or they may not. He may be found to be not guilty or not competent or himself a victim. So until we all know what's going on, I would ask the viewers out there to take a breath, take a step back, and let the process play out.
All right, so we can tell you the attorney says he has not met with Siders Sr. yet because of the holiday. He says he's also been very limited in the information he's received when it comes to details of the investigation at this point. Go to your local Nexstar station's website.
Okay, now let's talk about that, because I also saw, and I'm going to play it here in a few minutes. We're going to play that one too, where the attorney that's been appointed to Elizabeth is talking as if she is a victim as well. Now, the thing about Elizabeth is she could be a victim, because I'm going to tell you, Cinderella, the one thing I saw here that kind of shocked me was when she started dating him, Gary Jr., she was 15 years old. Apparently they got married when she's 15 years old. They were legally married, and then she started having these children. But I am wondering if this was some kind of a grooming situation, just like Maddie Soto, where she came from a home that really was maybe not that great. I don't know. We don't know enough about her, that she didn't realize what was happening to her. Because whenever I saw, during her arraignment, as I watched that, I saw the look on her face that she was completely puzzled as to why she's even in trouble. It's like she doesn't understand why she's even in trouble. And the only thing she asked about was, what about my children? Are my children okay? I mean, there's some real serious questions as to what is the real situation with Elizabeth. So I'm going to come back over here and we're going to find that. Hang on a second. Let me find this over here. And let me find Elizabeth. I'm just really shocked by the look on her face. I mean, she clearly did not understand what was going on. Let me see if I can find this. Okay, investigation. Let's see if we can find the arraignment. Hang on a second, guys. Oh my God, there's so much information here. Here it is. Okay, so we're going to watch this for just a second.
Thanks so much for joining me for WSAC Plus. Good morning, everyone. I'm Shannon Litton. We are continuing to follow the breaking news alert out of Vinton County, Ohio, where 4 people have been arrested after 16 children were found in deplorable conditions. So,
we're going to watch their arraignments, and I just want you to just hone in on Elizabeth's face, okay? Because she's very shocked. It's like she doesn't understand, and she wants to say something to the judge. Be quiet. My little dogs are in here and they're snoring and carrying on. But anyway, she wants to say something to the judge, and then the judge shuts her down. That's when you can clearly see all the confusion on her face. Let's watch.
They are now being arraigned this morning in Vinton County. Let's join that arraignment in progress this morning.
Are you okay with doing this by Zoom today? Sorry. Are you okay with doing this through the computer today? All right. So, there are 17. I apologize, there are 17 counts on one of these. Each of these counts is a second-degree felony count with endangering children, which is a violation of Ohio Revised Code 2919-22B1 and E2D. Each one of them alleges that on or about June 30th, 2026, that you did abuse a child under the age of 18 years old, and the violation resulted in serious physical harm to that child. Each count contains different initials indicating and birth dates indicating which child to whom it refers. Count 1 is CS, date of birth 5/30/2008.
Yeah.
Count 2 is ZS.
I have a question about this right here, and let's think about this logically. So they discover these children are there. They take the children away. Did the children discuss what happened to them? Some of them were told. Some of them were said that they could not speak and that they could not write their own names, that kind of thing, because they've never been to school at all. They had no education. There is also no proof of their birth dates that I know of, because we're trying to find out, were they born in the hospital or were they born in a house somewhere? Because nobody is letting it be known whether there is a legal birth certificate for these children or not. That has not come out yet. So that's something we really don't know. So I don't know how they know who did what to these children if they were nonverbal. Do you think Elizabeth said that, oh, well, so-and-so did it? I mean, how did these charges come about? This is a very big question, because when it comes down to it and you get in front of a jury of your peers, if they don't plead guilty to this, somebody's going to have to explain if these children could not speak, who decided which person hurt them? How did they get the information? Did they just point to a picture and say it was him? I mean, there's a lot of questions about this, because we know these children have a lot of mental disabilities. So here we go.
Date of birth 8/17/2009. Count 3 is CS, date of birth 3/13/2011. Count 4 is KS, date of birth 3/28/2012. Count 5 is BS, date of birth 5/8/2013. Count 6 is GS3, date of birth 9/2/2014. Count 7 is LS, date of birth 5/25/2016. Count 8 is VS, date of birth 10/26/2017. Count 9 is JS, date of birth 10/27/2019. Count 10 is ES, date of birth 9/29/2020. Count 11 is NS, date of birth 2/10/22. Count 12, SS, date of birth 2/10/22. Count 13, alleges harm to John Doe, date of birth 1/21/25. That's John Doe A. There's John Doe B, date of birth 1/21/25. Count 15 is simply identified by first name Isaac, no date of birth at this time. Count 16, Isaiah, no date of birth at this time. Count 17, Wade, no date of birth at this time. Those are for you, Mr. Siders Jr., Mr. Siders Sr., those are all the same.
Okay.
They're identical counts.
Yes, I suspected so, but I wanted to ensure. All right. Each of those felonies of the second degree is punishable by 2 to 8 years as a minimum sentence and a maximum sentence of 12 years in prison. A maximum fine of $15,000 and 18 months to 3 years of post-release control. Do you understand all that? You have the following rights. You have the right to read.
Okay. Did you notice that judge just sort of rolled her eyes because she is so irritated by this case right here? It's as if she doesn't even want to talk to these people because she seems very mad. Watch again and just watch her facial expressions as she discusses this. Here we go.
Retain counsel, even if you intend to plead guilty. You have the right to a reasonable continuance in the proceedings to secure counsel. You have the right to have counsel assigned without cost to you if you are unable to afford counsel. You have the right to bail if the offense is bailable. We will come back to bail momentarily. You are not required to make a statement at any point in these proceedings, but anything you say can and may be used against you. You have the right to a speedy public jury trial. Do you understand? Also, because these cases have come before this court on a complaint rather than an indictment at this time, you would have the right to a preliminary hearing, and you can discuss that with counsel once counsel is appointed for you. Do you understand? All right. The JO has applications for court-appointed counsel there. You can fill those out and they'll submit them back to the court. You have 4 pleas available to you. A plea of guilty is a complete admission of your guilt. A not guilty plea is a complete denial of your guilt. A no contest plea is not an admission of guilt, but is an admission to the facts that underlie the complaint. If you plead no contest, the state would give me a statement of facts, and it would be up to the court to determine whether or not you were guilty of the charged offenses based on those facts. If the facts were not sufficient, I would find you not guilty. A plea of no contest cannot be used against you in any subsequent civil or criminal case, but you would have a criminal record if you were found guilty pursuant to a plea of no contest. A not guilty by reason of insanity plea must be made in writing. Do you understand those pleas? How do you plead?
Okay, listen carefully. Did you listen carefully to him speaking? That is the first time I've heard him speak, and I can tell you by what I just heard, he also has some disability. You could hear it in his speech. I'm going to replay that. I'm going to back it up for a minute. I'm going to replay that. I want y'all to listen carefully because this is something I had not noticed until just right now. Hold on. Let's go back it up for just a minute. Hang on a second. All right.
You're not guilty. A plea of no contest cannot be used against you in any subsequent civil or criminal case, but you would have a criminal record if you were found guilty pursuant to a plea of no contest. A not guilty by reason of insanity plea must be made in writing. Do you understand those pleas? How do you plead? Yes, I will enter a not guilty plea for you at this time then, and you can confer with counsel. Okay? Mr. Siders, would you like me to enter a not guilty plea for you as well? Until you have the chance to speak with an attorney? I will do that.
Okay.
All right, I need to grab these phones actually.
Now, you've also noticed that Mr. Senior is in a wheelchair. We don't know if he's mobile or not mobile. We don't know why he's in a wheelchair. Okay, but this is another thing that really has not been discussed anywhere, and I could not find anything to know what his disabilities were or were not. So there's a lot of problems in this house. It's not just the children, but the adults also have a lot of problems. Let's keep going. We're going to watch the ladies be arraigned next, and just pay real close attention to Elizabeth. Okay, here we go.
State's position as to bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I please report at this time the state would be requesting a $300,000 cash assurance bond for each defendant under the court standard terms and conditions, including special conditions that they have no contact with each other as co-defendants, and they have no contact with the victims, and if they are able somehow to post bond, that GPS monitoring at their expense.
Gentlemen, do you have anything to say as to bond?
No, I didn't want to hear it, but
They asked for a $300,000 cash or surety bond. And that if you are, and no contact with your co-defendants or with the alleged victims, and that if you are released on bond, that you be required to wear a GPS monitor. Do you have anything to say as to any of that? All right, I will grant the state's request then. It will be a $300,000 cash or surety bond. In the event, well, first of all, no contact with your co-defendants. Don't be speaking with each other there at the jail. If you are released, no contact with the alleged victims. Don't try to contact them from jail either. And you will be required to wear a GPS monitor at the state's expense. You would also be required to be a law-abiding citizen, keep the court informed of any address or telephone number changes, appear at all hearings, and have DNA and fingerprinting done if you've not done so already. Do you understand? All right. Anything else from the state?
no, thank you.
All right. Gentlemen, we'll get you attorneys appointed as soon as possible. Thank you.
So from that right there, we can see Grandpa is in really bad shape. All right. We do know that he is 73 years old, I believe. That's his age right up here. Let me make sure that I'm right about that. I think he's 73. He is, yes, Gary Sr. is 73, and Christina is 67, and Elizabeth is only 33. Let's keep going down here. Okay, so they're going to be next. But just listen, it's amazing.
Okay, you've been watching part of the arraignment there for 2 out of the 4 people charged in this child neglect case. You saw there Gary Siders Jr. and Gary Siders Sr. both pleading not guilty at this time. It appears they're pleading not guilty until they can both confer with an attorney. So an attorney will be appointed to them. Right now, the judge there in that case has set the bond at $300,000 cash or surety. Bond for both Gary Siders Jr. and Gary Siders Sr. Now we're waiting to see the arraignment there of Christina Siders and Elizabeth Siders. As we wait on that, I just want to show you real quick their mug shots there. That these just came into our newsroom within the last few minutes. So they have been booked, of course, into jail. Now the arraignments are about to take place here again. So let's go back into the courtroom here. This is for the arraignment of Christina and Elizabeth Siders.
She can make that bigger for y'all.
Yes.
Do you not have a copy of the amended complaint?
I thought that was what they put in here.
No, that was the original.
What changed?
It's 16 counts, and we identified the kids with their actual dates of birth. And
Now, let's talk about this for just a second. Now, there's another question. If there is no official birth certificates, if they were all birthed at home, which this is a suspicion, not the home, well, I mean, if they're living, there's two sets that would have been born there because they've been living there for 4 years, but we just don't know about birth certificates or no birth certificates, right? That's something we just don't have answers to. And then you got to ask yourself a question. Is there any way, and I'm just going to throw it out there, is there any way that maybe she did not birth all these children, that maybe there is an 18-year-old person that lives there as well that is believed to be a girl? Is it a possibility that there are two sets of people having babies over there because of how close these babies' ages are? The last set of twins, there were supposedly 3 sets of twins. We've got one born in 1/21 of 2024, and then 1/1 of 2025. Now, do you see how close it is together? How are we pregnant and then pregnant again right then? I mean, something is so strange about these dates of these babies. But without birth certificates and with the fact that now that's all been sealed, we are not going to get that information. That is something we're just not going to know. But here we go. Let's watch this arraignment. But watch her face. She looks so confused.
removed so their names weren't listed on there. We used their initials then.
Okay, I'll change it to initials.
You want me to go get it?
You can.
Okay.
I apologize. The prosecutor went to get a piece of paper or some paperwork from the clerk's office. We will be ready to proceed in just one moment.
It does look as if they've gotten showers and gotten their hair washed. She looks so much better now. Now, her mother, I have my piece of paper. Let me tell you something. Her mother is talking on Facebook. Elizabeth's mother is talking on Facebook. And her name is Lori Russell, if you would like to know that. And she's been talking about her daughter on Facebook. Now, the thing about Elizabeth is when her mother's discussing her, she was reaching out to her, etc., she was mentioning that she had blonde hair. So I don't know when she dyed this hair black. That's something we don't know. But again, also we have the attorney that has been appointed to Elizabeth, discussing the fact that she is a victim in this case. Now, could that be possible? It could be. I don't really know if she is or isn't. I mean, I'm not. It's not for me to judge at this point. I have to look at this because we don't have enough facts to really judge. To be honest with you, we don't. Is it a grooming situation? Was it? I mean, because the parents had to sign for her to get married to this man, this boy, when she was 15 years old, and the boy was 18 years old, and it's a legal marriage license, right? What happened there? Something was happening back there. Hey there, Brandy and Andy, so good to see ya. Yeah, Elizabeth was abused. Oh, you think so? See, you know what, Brandy? I'm thinking that there's something really wrong there. Thank you for coming in. I'm so glad. I want to hear everybody's point of view. I know we've seen this all over the internet, but I mean, I just think that there's something so wrong here, and I'm not trying to take. She is responsible for her children. I get that. I do. But something is so wrong here when you look at her. We'll watch this right quick, and then we'll start talking. Here we go.
It looks like they're getting some stuff ready for that arraignment. In the meantime, just kind of want to catch you back up to speed here on the case. Again, here's their mugshots. These are the 4 people who are facing charges. Gary Siders Sr., Gary Siders Jr., Christina Siders, and Elizabeth Siders. Now, all of them in custody, as you can see here from their mugshots. Authorities say They were all arrested after a shocking scene played out in a quiet neighborhood, as 16 children were rescued from a home in Vinton County, Ohio yesterday. Now, 4 people are facing charges, of course. We have seen the arraignments just recently in the last 5 minutes of Gary Siders Jr. and Gary Siders Sr. They both pleaded not guilty until they can confer with an attorney, and the judge has set their bond at $300,000 cash or a surety. Now, here's what we can tell you about the children so far as what we know from the press conference yesterday. So all 4 adults are facing those 16 counts of child endangerment. Authorities say the children were removed from the home in Hamden, and they range in age from 18 years old to just 18 months. 2 of the children actually had to be life flighted to trauma centers around the state because, according to investigators, their lives were in danger. Now, all 4 of those people, of course, all 4 of the Siders that we've been telling you about are being arraigned this morning. Those arraignments started around 10:30 this morning. And like I just mentioned, the arraignments of Gary Siders Jr. and Gary Siders Sr. have just taken place. We're now just waiting on the arraignments of Christina Siders.
I'm going to go past that because, we know that. I just want to get over. Okay, I think it starts about right here. Just pay close
And I
attention.
think it's important that you understand what we are talking about, all right?
Here we go. When I first started watching it, I was like, oh my God, he's so
The
confused.
complaint from 17 counts to 16. Okay. Did you have the opportunity to read that complaint? Okay, I'm going to go over it with you because these are serious allegations, and I think it's important that you understand what we are talking about, all right? These complaints are identical. They each contain 16 counts of endangering children, which is a violation of Revised Code 2919-22B1, 2919-22E2D. All of those counts are felonies of the 2nd degree. All of those accounts allege that you did in Hamden on or about June 30th, 2026, unlawfully abuse a child under the age of 18, and that violation resulted in serious physical harm to that child, okay? Each count is different in that it identifies a different child by initial and birthday. And so we will go through those quickly and then talk about the rest of what we need to address today, all right? Count 1 refers to CS, date of birth 5/30/2008. Count 2 refers to ZS, date of birth 8/17/2009. Count 3 refers to CS, date of birth 3/13/2011. Count 4 refers to KS, date of birth 3/28/2012. Count 5 refers to BS, date of birth 5/8/2013. Count 6 refers to GS3, date of birth 9/2/2014. Count 7 refers to LS, date of birth 5/25/2016. Count 8, VS, date of birth 10/26/17. Count 9, JS, date of birth 10/27/2019. Count 10, ES, date of birth 9/29/2020. Count 11, NS, date of birth 2/10/22. Count 12, SS, date of birth 2/10/22. Count 13, IS, date of birth 1/21/25. Count 14, IS, date of birth 1/21/25. I assume that those are 2 separate children that are perhaps twins. Count 15, BS, date of birth 1/4/24.
Also look at her arm right there. Do y'all see that right there? I know it's kind of hard to see but I can't really make it any bigger. But look at her arm right there. I don't think that's a tattoo. To me, it looks like some big giant bruise where maybe somebody was manhandling her, or or something. Something's not right about her arm. Here we go.
Count 16, WS 1424. Felonies of the second degree are punishable by a minimum sentence of 2 to 8 years in prison, a maximum sentence of 12 years, and a $15,000 maximum possible fine. They also carry the possibility of 18 months to 3 years of post-release control. Do you understand the charges against you? I need you to answer out loud because we're keeping a record. All right. Doesn't mean you agree with them. I just need to know that you understand what they are. You have the following rights. You have the right to retain counsel even if you intend to plead guilty. You have the right to a reasonable continuance in these proceedings to secure counsel. You have the right to have counsel assigned without cost to you if you are unable to afford counsel. You have the right to bail if the offense is bailable, and we will discuss bail momentarily. You are not required to make a statement at any point in these proceedings, but anything you say can and may be used against you. You have the right to a speedy public jury trial. Do you understand those rights? All right. The jail has applications for court-appointed counsel. If you wish to fill them out, they will send them back to the court. You have 4 pleas available to you. A guilty plea is a complete admission of your guilt. A not guilty plea is a complete denial of your guilt. A no contest plea is not an admission of guilt, but it is an admission to the facts that underlie the indictment. If you plead no contest, the state would give me a statement of facts, and it would be up to the court to determine whether or not you were guilty based on those facts. If the facts were not sufficient, I would find you not guilty. A plea of no contest cannot be used against you in any subsequent civil or criminal proceeding, but you would have a criminal record if you were convicted under a no contest plea. A plea of not guilty by reason of insanity must be made in writing. Do you understand these pleas? And how do you plead? Stop. First of all, I want to remind you of your right to remain silent. This is not the time for you to argue your case. These are serious allegations, and if you are unsure on what to do, I will enter a not guilty plea for you until you can consult with counsel, okay? I also need to advise you that because these cases came before this court on a complaint, as opposed to through an indictment by the grand jury, you have the right to a preliminary hearing. And that's a matter you can discuss with counsel once they're appointed as well. All right? All right. So I will enter not guilty pleas for both of you at this time until you have the opportunity to discuss this case with counsel. State's position as to bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, it is the state's recommendation that a $300,000 cash or surety bond be imposed on each defendant based on the seriousness of the offenses that under the court standard terms and conditions, including special conditions that they have no contact with co-defendants, with each other, and with the victims, and that if they were able to post bond, that they would be subject to GPS monitoring. Thank you.
Did you hear the prosecutor? The state is asking for a $300,000 cash or surety bond, and that if you are able to post bond, that you have no contact. Well, sorry, let me back up. Even if you're not able to post bond, they're asking that you have no contact with your co-defendants. That means each other. I presume the jail will keep you from having contact with the other 2 co-defendants if you remain in jail. No contact with the alleged victims of the offense, and if you are released, that you be fitted with a GPS monitor at state's expense. We also have general conditions of bond if you are released, which include that you be a law-abiding citizen, that you keep the court informed of any address or telephone number changes, that you appear at all court hearings, and that you get DNA and fingerprinting done if you have not already done so. Do you have anything to say as to bond?
You can discuss with your attorney. They could file a motion to modify bond, and the court will consider that at that time. Okay? All right, is there anything else from anyone? All right, we'll get someone appointed as soon as possible. Thank you. Thank you. You too.
All right, now, I mean, I'm watching her face, and as she's watching all this go on, and you can hear her, and I just think that I don't think that she realized that it was this bad, that she was going to be stuck there, and that even if she got out, she would have no contact with her children. Her children are gone at this point. I don't think she could even get them back. It's so horrific, and the fact that where would she go if any of them get out now? Where are they going? Because where they're living now is basically going to be condemned. The conditions were so bad. Okay, that house is not going to be livable. I just can't imagine what would happen to her. I think that she needs a lot of assistance, because at first I didn't want to think that she was really maybe a victim. But then after I watched this, and then I remember back about, what I learned when I worked for the women's shelter and that kind of thing, about how they act. I'm beginning to believe we do have a little bit of victim here. How could she stay pregnant all those many times? What was really going on in that house of horror? Because it is a house of horror, Yeah. No one can get them back. I mean, no, nobody's going to do a $30,000 surety bond for them. I mean, they're just stuck there now until they go to trial, I guess. I mean, and we've seen these things drag on before. Trials can drag on and on and on, and these people are just in limbo while they're sitting there. And the fact that this has not even been before the grand jury, right? She might get a deal. Yeah, if she goes ahead and talks, she might get a deal. Maybe that's what she ought to be. Maybe her attorney will talk. And I want to go show y'all something else that I came across today. Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can go find it over here. And it's her attorney speaks. Hang on, Elizabeth Sider's attorney. Hang on. Let me see if we can get him pulled up. Okay. A lawyer disputes the characterization. This is for him. Then is this for her? Representing the people. Okay, let's see. This might be the one for her. I'm not sure. The attorney. Oh, it's this one right here. Here we go. Hang on a minute, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. Listen to this.
Can you hear me all right?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Now, this is her attorney.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time. I'm sure it's been a busy afternoon.
It has. A busy couple days.
Yeah, for sure. So we can just kind of jump right in. Thank you again.
Recording in progress.
All right, so first off, just say and spell your first and last name for us.
I'm going to speed that up for us.
It is Tommy Stolle. Tommy spelled the way you think it would be, Tommy. Stolle spelled Stolly.
And then official title.
Managing attorney, Stolle Law Offices.
And then when it just comes to this case, you being a
sped it up so
lawyer
we
on
go
this one,
faster.
just kind of what are your initial thoughts when it comes to, this case that you have at your hand right now?
Okay, we'll get that one too. Thank you, Brandy. I didn't know that, Brandy. Thank you.
For the human aspect of a case like this. Obviously, this is something that has been sensationalized a bit. The media is interested in it. People are talking about it. You see it everywhere. But there's a human component here. So that's always the first thing that I'm interested in. I want to know what the charges are, and then I start thinking about the human aspect of it, because that's the thing that's going to actually be real. Because at the end of the day, that's what we care about. So that was my initial thought moving into this, and that's sort of the thought that I went in to the jail with today to speak with Elizabeth.
Why is it buffering? Oh my God. Okay. Sometimes it happens with YouTube. I don't know what the hell, but let's see if we can fix it. All right, hang on.
You want to share what you guys discussed, how she's doing?
Yeah, there we go. Sorry.
I did. I can share to an extent. So what I will say is that I had no idea what I was walking into. I saw the same headlines everyone else did. At one point, the term pure evil was used to describe Elizabeth and the home. And at another point, there was a comment that livestock had been treated better. So I really didn't know what I was walking into. When I walked in there, I met a woman who was timid and who was exhausted. It looked like she had been crying quite a bit. She looked distraught, and she was willing to talk to me, able to talk to me, and we sat down for about an hour and a half to go through the basics of this case. Obviously, to talk about some of the legal aspects that are coming up, future hearings in court, what my role is as her attorney, and then I asked her some more personal questions. I asked her if she had seen any of the coverage that has been online for the better part of a day now. She hasn't. She does not know how the home, the conditions, the investigation is being described. And I chose not to share all of those details with her at this point because she does seem so fragile. The person that I met with, though, is not someone who comes across as pure evil.
See, she looked extremely fragile to me too, right? I mean, like you could just totally tell that as if somebody had taken her voice away, taken her ability to say no away, taken her ability to live away, like she was just trapped in this freaking hellhole with these people. And somebody over there is running the show. Now, I don't know if it's Gary Jr. or Gary Sr. I'm going to say it's Jr., and I'll tell you the reason why. Because Sr. in the wheelchair seems to be like he's kind of not able to do a lot. But Jr. over there being the young little buck, I think that he's the one running the show over there. And yeah, something is definitely just wrong in that household. Let him keep talking. I don't get it. Yeah.
It's just evil requires
wrong.
malice. And the person that I saw there, Elizabeth, she doesn't have that in her eyes, at least from this initial. So this was an opportunity for me to get to know her to the extent that I can in this early stage. So at this point, I do. I think she is distraught.
Do you think that she's a victim in any of this?
She would not. I don't think she would classify herself as a victim. That was. I asked her that question in a couple roundabout ways. And she did not have a typical victim-minded mindset when answering. She did say that she misses her kids. And that's one of the things that shocked me was the first question that she asked me was, are the kids okay? When can I see the kids? And do you know anything about where they are? That was the first series of questions that she asked me, which, kind of surprised me. Usually when people are in jail, they ask, can you get me out of here? When can I get out? So I think that was telling.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it there. And another lawyer also that's defending Gary Sr. also kind of said that, the sheriff and the attorney general, they're saying that, these sheriffs, attorney generals are making this, a political, they're sensationalizing this case, this case. So do you believe that to be true?
I don't want to get into politics here. I don't think that any of this investigation is politically motivated. I think the investigators and law enforcement work on the ground. So they see what's right there, right in front of them. They don't necessarily have the benefit of a hindsight conversation. So I think a lot of the snapshots that got out there into the media and on press conferences were based on those initial perceptions. And that's not the whole story. It doesn't tell us why something happened. It doesn't actually present a narrative as to who these people are and who these children are in that context. So I would say we are still so very early on in this case, and it takes time. But unfortunately, first impressions really do matter. And so when we have language like pure evil, it's important to combat that language and say innocent until proven guilty. Because that's what Elizabeth is, and that's what all of her family who lived in that home are. They're innocent until proven guilty. And it's the state's burden to prove them guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And we don't know at this point if they're going to be able to do that. Part of what I was able to get today in sitting down and meeting with Elizabeth was a little bit more of that context, who she is as a person and her relationship with the kids.
And kind of, you kind of mentioned the media.
The thing about it is you got to think about this. You're like, did she grow up in a home like that herself and she doesn't know any better? Is that the way she lived in a hoarded up, messed up, unclean environment? So, I mean, what in the world? Because most mothers know when your child is filthy, when your child is not being bathed, when your child is hungry, when you've got two children that are being life-flighted out out of that area to a hospital because it is said, and I don't know if it's true or not, because we weren't there and we just, everything's going to be sealed. We're not going to have this information. But when they said, had they waited 24 more hours, some of these kids could have passed away. They were in that bad a condition. Did mama not know this? I mean, you see, there's some kind of disconnect there that makes no sense at all. She cared about them, she loved them, but the disconnect, and they never went to school. I mean, something was just so different here. Her mother, let's see, her mother fought for her and called law in Gary Jr. when Elizabeth, okay. So her mother did not want her to marry Gary Jr. when she was 13 or 15 years old. Is that right, Brandy? Is that what you're saying here? Because, at the age of 15, somebody had to sign the paperwork for her to get married at that age. She was raised better? Okay, thank you. Because that's it. I didn't have that information, I'm like, could she not see what was happening? Or was it that she could not do anything about it because she had nothing to do anything about it with? And did she not have a phone, no way to contact somebody to come and get help? Or did she know if she contacted somebody, they were taking the kids away? See, that's another part of this. Let's listen to this. It's just fascinating, really. It's sad.
The aspect of things,
know.
The talk of the town in Vinton County is this case. Do you want to take this case out of Vinton County? Do you want to ask for it to be taken out of Vinton County to be somewhere else?
I don't know if we have enough information for that at this point. What I will say is that the people of Vinton County are tremendously fair, and we look forward to vigorously defending this case. And that's going to involve a lot of investigation and, to be honest, a lot of time. So is that something that is a possibility? Maybe. We don't know that at this point. We don't have discovery at this point.
All right. Well, is there anything else I'd like to add that I didn't ask you about?
Not that I can think of, other than the fact that we are still so early here, and it's going to take time. There's going to be more information that comes out, and some of it is probably going to bring a lot of this into context. But what I would ask for the public, or from the public rather, is to allow this thing and to have faith in the system and to allow this process to work out. Because, like I said, we look forward.
Hang on a second. So Brandy says, well, she had her first child at 13, and she threatened her mom if she didn't emancipate her, that she and the baby would move out of the state. So her parents did sign when they got married in West Virginia. Oh, wow. So let me ask you this, Brandy, do you think that Gary and his family were driving that situation right then too? Because you're talking about a 13 or 14-year-old child. There's no way she could think for herself at that age. She's a baby having a baby, for God's sake. I mean, this is where the first part of the mistake happened, right here. That is so sickening. I mean, you just feel bad for her. So Elizabeth so in West Virginia, at 14? Wow. And so Elizabeth and Gary Jr. met in the trailer park they grew up in, and they lived 2 doors down. Okay, this is information I did not have. Thank you, Brandy. I did not know that. Huh. Okay. This is giving a little more detail as to how this happened. Okay, thank you.
To vigorously defending this case, to working through each of the charges. Most importantly, we want to make sure that the kids are okay. And it sounds like that is well on the way at this point. So, then our focus shifts to the context and figuring out all we can about what happened. So the unfortunate truth in the American justice system is that takes time. So we're confident that it will, that the system will work. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, and just kind of lastly, when were you notified that you'd be taking this case?
Ooh.
Well, coincidentally, I happened to be in Vinton County yesterday. And it was yesterday afternoon, right before the courthouse closed, that I got notification that I would be, they asked if I would take the case, and I said yes.
And then I know it's still kind of early on for you, and you might not have all the details, but was Elizabeth 15 years old when she was married to Gary?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure I covered all the basics. I think we got it also. I appreciate your time today. I know it's probably been very busy.
All right. So now, And Brandy says she moved in 2 doors down initially, but then eventually moved away. That's the story that you got, and you're saying allegedly. Thank you, Brandy. See, I did not hear that part of the story. I mean, I've tried to listen to a few people talk about it today, and I've scanned all the news stories and those kind of things. Went out and found the complaint and some other things about it. But once they started sealing the documents, it's going to make it even harder for us to get any information, really. So let's go pull up the one for Christina's arraignment. Christina's attorney, sorry, we heard arraignment. Let me see if I can get that pulled up, Christina. All right, because I have not heard hers at all. Attorney, okay, here we go. All right, now let's see. There's hers. Full interview, first responder. Okay, let's see. Attorney appointed, Benton County Child Victim. Is it, you think, oh, look, 4 hours away. Attorney appointed, so Dorian Boo, blah, blah, blah. That's for Gary. Let's find the one for Christina. This was 2 days ago. Okay. I wonder why we can't find the one for her. Let's see. Christina Sider's attorney. I'm just going to go back and say appointed attorney. We'll do it like that. That's for Gary Sr. Let's see. This is for Gary Sr. Let's see. What we know about the 16 children. We know about that already. So I'm just trying to find this attorney. Let's see. Due details of murder, 16 kids. When was this? Was this yesterday? How long ago was this one? 1 day ago? 3 days ago? Yeah, 1 day ago. Okay, well, I don't see that yet, but that doesn't mean it's not out there. It might be a news story that is not exactly on YouTube yet. So that might be the reason why we can't find it, but I will try one more time. So let's see. This is the one for Gary. No, but it was for the holiday, yeah. And this is the one for, yeah. Okay, this is the one for, let's see, it's the senior. Yeah, I don't see that one yet, and that sucks because I really wanted to, okay. The suspects were identified, yeah. Attorney for 4, let's see, yeah. I don't see that one yet, but that doesn't mean anything. Okay, we'll come back over. Okay, but that's okay, that's fine. We'll just go find it, we'll go find it some places. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a news report somewhere where I'm missing. There we go. Anyway, I don't know. There's just something so weird about the whole story and how it happened. You go, that's what someone said in Justin's chat. I'm not sure. Okay, let me go look, because I watched Justin today, but I might have missed it. But let me go see if I can find it over here. Hang on. We'll look at Copilot and see if it's over there. Attorney, hang on. But I really, when I was watching Justin, but I was also doing some other stuff at the same time. So I might have missed that for Christina. Okay. Let's see if we can find anything. Okay, attorney, let's see. Christina Sider has been appointed a court-appointed public defender through the Benton County Public Defender's Office. Because of that, she must have legal counsel. Okay, but who is it? Is there a story? She's been assigned. The specific attorney name has not yet been published on the docket, but she is represented and she will have counsel. That's what I'm seeing here, but I'm not actually seeing a news story about that, which sucks. Okay, let's see. Yeah, you've been following the Channel 6 news. I think that might be Channel 3. I'm getting tired. Your brain isn't working. It's okay, Brandy, I know. Because we've been paying attention to this kind of all day long. Well, since it broke, we have. So, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, Guilty Crime, how you doing? Listen, you see what we're talking about. We're talking about these 16 kids over here, what's happened. And there's a lot of discussion on Elizabeth. Because I'm listening to her and I'm watching her and I'm thinking, okay, what happened to Elizabeth, right? What happened to her? Because she seemed very I'm not going to say that she doesn't know what's going on, but she just seems lost. She just seems lost when you watched her, and she's totally upset. She wonders about her children, but something is so wrong over there, Jay. Something is just so wrong. I don't know exactly what it is, but something is just so wrong. I can't put my finger on it. And then we looked at the dates of these children being born. I don't know. And now that they're sealing these records because we're not going to be able to get this information, it's going to just even cause more confusion about this case. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm just kind of, maybe I should play some of yours today, but I know you probably don't want me to do that. But okay, let me just say this. If you have not went and watched Guilty of Crimes coverage on this case, you really should, because she's done a really good job of showing us some things that we have not seen in other places. Oh yeah, we're gonna find out. Oh, we're gonna find out what's hiding soon. I hope so, y'all. I hope so, because I just think that there's just something so messed up about all of these kids and the situation and how they, because you've got people saying, yeah, the neighbors on the street may not have known these kids existed, but there was a story about Elizabeth going to this place once a week and picking up diapers and formula for these kids. So people knew she had these kids. Let me see if I can find that story right quick. It's a diaper and formula pantry. Let me see if I can find this right quick. Let me see if I can get this to pull up. It was on a news story somewhere, and she wanted to go twice a week, but they only allowed her to go once a week. But so according to the investigation, one of the key details in the timeline is that Elizabeth Sliders left home to get diapers and formula. This trip is important because it shows two things. Okay, the children were in need of basic supplies, which we know that, and that the adults in the home were aware of the children's needs because she would have to go get these diapers and formula. But it also tells us that other people knew these children were there. We've got the people at the the dollar store or the Dollar General, whatever the name of that store was. They knew these children were there because they tried to help. Yeah. So I mean, and I understand that a lot of people do not stick their nose in other people's business, right? Some people are just not nosy enough to make that call to bring attention to something that they see as disgusting, or they know something's wrong, that they just kind of like, well, let me try to help them this way, but they don't really step up and do the next thing or the next level to help people. And I know that happens, and maybe we should be more nosy. I don't know. I just know that there's a lot wrong here. There's a lot wrong with this story, and we are going to find out more, But I just wanted to talk about like some of the facts versus the rumors, and actually, look at some of the real documents and that kind of thing, and talk about just the way I see how Elizabeth appears. And she looks better since she got a shower. She got a shower and all that in jail, and she looks a whole lot better. But I just think that, and when I listened to Gary Jr. talk when his arraignment, and I really slowed that down and we listened to it, he cannot even speak clearly. He's got some kind of problem himself. It was like I don't know if he's hard of hearing. I'm not sure what it is, but there's something not right with him as well. I noticed that tonight when we re-listened to that arraignment. But anyway, you know what? We're going to switch gears for just a second. Now, let's talk about the 4-year-old that came up missing, because that story is not making sense either. Jay, have you paid attention to the 4-year-old that's missing? Something about the mother went to have a baby. I cannot say her name. I think it's Deborah, or let's see. Let me get her name pulled up. Hang on a minute. Something about she was playing in a chicken coop in her pajamas. No, no, something is not right about that story. And her dad, boy, his story made no sense at all, none. Okay, let me see about this person's name. Let's see, 4-year-old. Let me figure out what is her name. Golly. Okay, let me pull it up on YouTube because I cannot remember her name to save my life, guys. I don't know why, but I can't. Okay, so but I know that y'all know who I'm talking about. So let's take a look right quick. Okay, hang on. I want to talk about her for just a second. I'm not going to stay long. I just wanted to talk about this one right here. So let's look at this one right here. And this is from let's see. Is there something new from, like, this is from 15 hours ago, 1 hour ago. This is from 1 hour ago, y'all. Listen to this. Hello. Hang on. Let me share my screen so y'all can see what I'm talking about. This little story is so wrong. all over the place. Something is not right about this little story. Number one, your kid is not in his pajamas playing in a damn chicken coop. I want y'all to think about the statement. Okay, here we go. Let's get this going.
Javeyah Harris.
Nevaeh. All right.
Time has ticked by. The nights and the days keep adding up.
It's a little slow.
Aging is this unanswered question at the center, so far, of an unsuccessful search for the answer. This is the question that comes before.
So cute.
What happened?
Dad. Yes.
Before asking
yes,
if there is a who. Before any chance to ask why. This is the question that has to be answered. It is the question so many people are asking.
Yeah, we do have questions. A lot.
Where is Javeyah Harris?
I can't figure out how to spell her name.
It was back on Tuesday, 8:15 in the evening, that Javeyah's mom started this story.
We always appreciate
30 minutes ago wearing a pink Minnie Mouse.
All right. Yeah, let me say goodnight to Brandy. Thank you for coming in, girl. You know, I always like to see you. Hey, you know how I am. Y'all go catch it on replay or whatever you need to do. I'm always happy to see everybody. I just ask that y'all hit that like button on your way in, your way out. I always forget to say that. Anyway, so I'll talk to you later, Brandy. Thank you for coming in. Have a good night's sleep. Okay, here we go. But yeah, I need to figure out this child's name. Here we go.
Pajamas.
On the phone with a 911 dispatcher. Among the details shared in those critical first moments, at half an hour before sunset, 4-year-old Javeyah was outside in the yard. She was dressed in Minnie Mouse pajamas, Crocs on her feet for shoes, pink beads braided into her hair. In the yard,
Thank you so much. I didn't know how to spell her
chasing
name.
around the chickens. Those are the details shared among deputies that so swiftly sparked a search tied to a theory that 4-year-old Javeyah Harris simply wandered away. This little girl, not even 4 feet tall and just a little more than 40 pounds. One has to ask, how far could she have gone? Within minutes, tracking dogs began searching for a scent. So quickly, deputies sent up drones on board, cameras able to search in the dark. You don't have to fast forward far. In flew a helicopter, while on the ground below, dozens of deputies on a task that was taken through the night, knocking door by door, going street by street. Small is not a word that would describe any part.
When they said they have now searched 5,000, what equals up to 5,000 acres, and they've had dogs out there, and there was no scent. You know what was running through my mind? Lily and Jack, Lily and Jack, Lily and Jack, because it makes no sense. There is talk that this child has been missing way longer than they're saying this child is missing. Like they're trying to go all the way back to June the 15th through June the 30th. And there's neighbors in this neighborhood saying they haven't seen this child in a long time. What are y'all talking about? Nobody saw her out there playing in this supposed chicken coop. And what child goes out in their pajamas and plays in a damn nasty chicken coop? What the hell is going on over here at Javeyah's house? And then how does this mother goes into labor and has this other baby during the same time that this child's being reported as missing, or right after the child was reported as missing? No, something is wrong. Now, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything. I don't, because I don't have any information that tells me anything. But the story does not make sense. In my mind, I keep getting this thought that, okay, we got something like Jack and Lily going on here, and that this child was missing beforehand, but they had to finally say something because they knew they were going to go to the hospital, have this other baby. Who was going to be watching? What were they going to do with Javeyah? Who was going to be babysitting Javeyah? well, we got to report her missing because we're not going to have nobody to babysit her because we don't know where she's at. So, or we know, but we've got to do something to get it out there so we can go have this baby and not be looked at that we did something to Javeyah. Something's just wrong with this whole picture, this whole story. Makes no sense. Here we go.
Of this operation. In fact, it could be said impressive would define the size and the scale. In heat that felt like triple digits, some 200 first responders scoured meticulously over 5,000 acres.
That's a lot.
Well, this is still a search effort.
When the sheriff of Aiken County talked with reporters almost 2 days after this search started, Sheriff Marty Sawyer said there was no reason for him to think that this search should be happening anywhere else.
We have nothing right now that takes us away from a search in this area.
But as he answered our questions, asking if this case could be more than a little girl who walked away,
she's so pretty.
The sheriff hinted something notable in his answer.
Obviously, we have FBI and SLED and some of our investigators following up on other questions and other leads, but
there are state investigators and federal agents who are interviewing people as part of this case. Tonight, we now know law enforcement is collecting evidence as they explore what they call other aspects.
Yeah.
We learned that just after the sheriff's office announced the massive search effort here on the ground, where yesterday they seemed so certain Javeyah might be, will now be scaled down.
Yeah.
The hope is there to find this little girl alive. It is hope that each passing hour makes harder and harder to hold on to.
Okay, so I'm so glad that they're looking at this different. Here's the thing about this, and another thing, they started hollering about autism, and they start talking about autism. You know how mad that makes me? Every time there's a child that disappears and they want to start hollering, well, no, stop it. That has nothing to do with that child disappearing, especially in this case. Now, if that child was known to elope or she was really diagnosed already, which we know at this age, she's not diagnosed already. Okay, she's not being diagnosed. So stop that. Just stop that. I mean, I don't even. What makes people think that they're going to be able to tell us this kind of garbage, and we're going to believe that this child was playing in the chicken coop and dad's over at the laundromat, and then he comes home and she's not in the chicken coop playing anymore? What child is allowed to play in a filthy ass chicken coop in her pajamas, ready to go to bed at night at 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night? Does that make any sense at all? No, it does not make any sense at all. Something is just so wrong over here, and I don't know if the lady that. Okay, there was something about her cell phone wasn't working, and she couldn't call 911. She couldn't call anybody but 911. I don't know. The whole story sounds like they took a long time to think up something they were going to say, and then say it, and then expect people to believe it. I'm going to go over here. Let me go back over here in a minute, guys. Let me see if I can find this other one. No, that was an hour ago. Hang on. Let me find. I don't want to use that. I want to find just the news. I want to find a news story. That was 2 days ago. I want to get back to where they were talking about. But let's watch this one. Okay, here we go.
Coverage you can count on begins with 3 days since 4-year-old Javeyah Harris disappeared in Aiken County.
I want to go back to the very beginning.
News Channel 6's Ryan Lynch is live from the scene with the latest. Ryan.
Yep. Law enforcement continues to search for Javeyah Harris. 3 days ago, they received the initial call and set up their command poster here at the Bethel Baptist Church. A nearby neighbor was at home when law enforcement first arrived to begin their search. She recalls the moment when police cars began to show up.
My friend works at the dollar store, Michelle. She called me up and asked me if I was all right. And I said, yeah, I'm okay. Why? She said, girl, there is all kind of cops and ambulance headed your way. I said, really? Because I was in my bedroom, and I got up to look out my bedroom, and my bedroom window was right there, and you could see right down the road. And I said, oh my Lord, there are cops everywhere. What's going on?
Burton says she and her friend were up until around 12:30 that night searching her property for Javeyah. And this story is still developing, and News Channel 6 will continue to provide updates as they come. Live in Aiken County, Ryan Lynch, WJBF, News Channel 6.
The Aiken County Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's help in finding Javeyah Harris. They're asking anyone who has any information on this investigation to call the tip line at 803-502-52.
Stop that one and go back. I want to get to one where the dad starts talking. He starts telling the story about what happened over here. And when you listen to Dad's story, you're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, because that makes no sense at all. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it over here. Let's see. Dad tells the story. Okay. Because if you haven't heard this, it is just, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, the story that he tells. Let's see. Missing kids, missing. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to try this one. This is yesterday. Let's see. Let's listen to this one.
A 4-year-old girl missing for nearly 2 days. Search teams have now covered more than 3,000 acres in Aiken County by helicopter, drone, and on foot.
This family is living a nightmare, and we are doing everything we can to bring Javeyah home.
If you know anything, authorities want to hear from you tonight.
We're continuing to follow breaking news tonight out of Aiken County, where local, state, and federal authorities are nearing 2 days of searching for 4-year-old Javeyah Harris. Your News 1226 team is live from the command center in Aiken County, as well as right here in studio, working to bring you all the information we have on search efforts. We go out live now to your Will Rio and Brett Buffington.
Okay.
Well, Zaina, the sheriff telling us that they will not give up until Javeyah Harris is brought home safely here. As you said, that we have now searched 3,000 acres. There's 200 law enforcement officials on the ground here. It is hot out here, and time is of the essence.
Well, they shared a map this afternoon of just this search area. It is massive. Some 200 law enforcement personnel trained specifically FBI agents.
Okay, but listen to this. 200 law enforcement dogs that found absolutely no scent, but the kid was in the chicken coop. Last seen in a nasty ass chicken coop. What do you mean there's no scent? Is it because they use the chicken coop story because that would throw the dogs off, because the smell of the chicken crap from the chicken coop? I know it's disgusting. The chicken coop would take away the smell of the child, so that's why they use that story. Is that what's going on here? Are they that smart? I mean, I don't know, but I would think you would still find smells of this kid somewhere. But they said there was no scent. The dogs found no scent of this child. How long has this child not been at that place? Something is wrong. Here we go, guys. I don't understand.
In the search for missing children, part of this search, as they ask for anyone with digital evidence in this missing persons case, to please submit it. The website link on our website, WRDW.com, this afternoon. That is, the sheriff says, this community's heart is breaking. So many of these people part of the search, Will, they are parents. They are uncles, cousins, grandparents. They have little ones. This little girl, 4 years old, not 4 feet tall, just 40-something pounds. And they believe that she wandered off. They still have no reason to believe that she did not do more than that, the sheriff said this afternoon, and could somewhere be not far from that home, just a half a mile from here.
And that's why we're still seeing the roadblocks here all around us, is that they are thoroughly checking every single car that is coming in and out of this area where the command center is. And to go back to the community support and what so many families are feeling here tonight, he said a lot of these investigators and searchers out here have kids of their own. They know what it's like to go through stuff like this. And that's the big impact. You see helicopters in the air today and ground crews out here trying to find any kind of sign of Javeyah Harris.
You have to think in the back of your head, and I've covered 2 other large-scale searches like this for missing children in my career, and I can tell you, this is something that weighs on everybody who hears this story. At home, we know you are feeling the heartbreak, thinking of this family, thinking of this little...
And you got to think about this. How far could a 4-year-old that small, how far could she freaking walk off? How far could she go? She's not going to go that far. She's not going to go past the acreage they've already been searching at. The story is off. I want to go back and find where the mothers, where they were talking about this mother going to the hospital, have this baby, because that is where the story is really starts going off the rocker here about how the hell could that have happened? Let me see if we can find her mother's story. I know I heard this somewhere. Mother talks. I think it's some mother talks or something. Mom who, no, not that one. That's not the right story. Oh, look at all these abduction stories and all this kind of stuff to search for Javeyah. That's one day ago. Let's see, who's this one? I really wish I could find the story where she's talking. Okay, let's see. This was from 4 hours ago. We're not giving up. Let's see. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Remember what her mother's name is, and so I don't really know how to figure out. But something's just not right about this story, and I just don't understand how the hell have they not found anything? It just reminds me of these other kids, and you just gotta wonder what really happened, because this is not what happened, right? It just can't be what happened. I don't understand. Let me see if we can go back and here's her father gives the interview. This is what I wanted right here. Okay, so this is going to have to give permit. This is from Crime Lines and Lies. Full credit.
Suckers, go to the laundromat, stuff like that. And when he saw nights, so I'm assuming.
Okay, let me give credit to Crime Lines. Who was it? Crime Lies and Lies. No, Crime Lines and Lies, I think is the name of it. I don't want to get it wrong, but and Lies. Okay, guys. We're going to use her work under fair use. Here we go. All right, let me give her full credit. I need to drop her channel link. I think I just spelled her name wrong. I hope not. I hope that's the wrong one. But here, anyway, we'll play this while I grab her link. Here we go.
Third shift is normally 11 p.m. Don't quote me on that because I don't exactly know where he works. He had to go to several different stores to get candy and do his laundry, which we all know takes more than a minute. However, when he saw the police cars, he thought he might need to go and check.
Maybe around 7:15, because my girl and my daughter said they wanted some candy. Like she wanted some suckers and she wanted some cookies. And I had went to like three stores maybe in between those times to get gas, like miles, and I got some drinks, like some little Mad Dogs and stuff like that. And when I left and I went back to dry the clothes because I was watching them. I was sitting there for a little minute, and I ended up going to another store. Like these 3 stores that I'm saying, like I sold the 3 stores already, but I went to a store last. Gotcha. And I was back at the washing machine that was right beside the Circle K. And then when I was at the Circle K, I was seeing a lot of police and stuff going through, and I was wondering. I was like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff goes on in Aiken to where you be like, okay, it's the police or whatever. But I didn't know that it was my house. But my girlfriend at the time, she didn't have service.
Girlfriend, okay, it's girlfriend.
She couldn't call me to let me know anything that was going on, so she just ended up calling 911. So when I came back.
Yeah. Okay, my understanding is from talking to other people, it's not that it's a bad service area. Her phone bill just hadn't been paid, but she could still call emergency 911. So that makes more sense than what was first perpetrated to us when all of this started unfolding on Wednesday. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm just going by what I'm reading. So he sees police cars and he says in Aiken County, you just never know, but he thought maybe something was going on over there. Now, if she was going into labor,
now, listen to
you
this.
would see an ambulance, but he doesn't describe an ambulance. This is nothing but police presence.
To the house, before I got on my road, I seen a police truck with a drone out. And then that's when I started speeding up because I was like, it's something going down like close to my house. When I got turned on my road, I seen a whole bunch of police like right at my house. So that's when I hurried up and I got to the house and I was like, what's going on? I thought my girlfriend was in labor because she was supposed to have a baby. you know what I'm saying, soon. So she ended up having a child that same night on July 1st. But she came up crying.
Okay, so listen to that story here. Her phone is not working. She didn't pay the bill, whatever. But she's going to go into labor, right? But he's over here getting all this other stuff, and he's left this child home with her. Because okay, now listen carefully. This is not the child's mother, but this is the child's father. I don't know where the child's mother is, but this girl that he's talking about is not the mother of this child. Now, how often have we seen something happen to these kids when you got a step parent involved? Think about that for just a minute, because something is not right about this story. But we'll keep listening. I just wanted to share that for a moment, because y'all know what I'm talking about. We've seen it over and over and over.
Trying to be saying my Javeyah missing.
It makes me sick.
I kind of freaked out, and the detectives were telling me I couldn't go look and stuff like that because they didn't want me to mess up the area or whatever. But that's basically what happened up until all of this came about.
Okay. Is she known to run away? Like, has there been past issues with that with her? Or is she known to do that?
No, she does not run away, but I will say that she is friendly. Like, she's friendly, but like she doesn't.
Remember, Jack and Lily were friendly too. They didn't know any strangers. They would just walk up to anybody, right? They would just go with anybody. Remember that story too? Yeah. Where are those babies? Yeah. See, you see what's going on? Oh my God. Here we go.
Like, it's not a stranger danger thing where it's not like, oh, get away from me. Like, she didn't get that. She didn't understand it. She was just all friendly to everybody. She was very respectful. Like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. Like, that's what she do. We raised her great. Like, she was a real smart kid.
Okay. She was a real smart kid. Using that past tense. Why is he using that past tense? What the hell is going on here? He didn't just go to the laundromat and then why wasn't the pregnant lady out there looking for this child? I am so confused, and I bet you are confused too as you listen to this. Here we go.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I am confused. Yeah.
No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. He says we raised her great, and she was a smart girl. Okay. Read into that what you want. None of this convo is making any sense to me, though. I'm just telling you, it's not. And was he at the hospital with his ex when she was given birth? Or did he go to work? Somebody knows. And by the way, before we get through the rest of it, please take a second to hit the like.
I'm going to go past that, y'all guys.
Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I would so much prefer we are not just talking about Javeyah's case. Newborn baby, they drink their milk. So I don't know where this is coming from. I don't understand that at all. Somebody knows more than me, and I can't wait for the education on that.
Gotcha.
We never got her tested, and she's never given us signs that she is, autistic. She talks good. She's like very, like she talks better than me. She got more respect than me.
Understood. So you guys have no idea what could have happened to her?
I have no clue. Sir, I don't like, it's really wild.
And the thing for me is I hear nothing in his voice that he is upset at all. I hear nothing that is concerned about that baby. Nothing. What do y'all think? Anything? I mean, something's very weird about the whole conversation. Here, keep going.
But I had, like I said, I had gave all of these detectives this information about people snooping around the house lately. It's like since I started work, like from Thursday really, but from Friday to Monday, I had to work. I was working night shifts and
Okay, all right. And somebody's snooping around their house. He's working out. Okay, see, what the hell? Why would somebody be snooping around their house? You gonna tell me somebody was pre-planning on coming over there and picking up this child that you were leaving in the chicken coop in her pajamas at 8:30 at night? No, no. Something is wrong here. Something is big wrong. And I don't like to, I don't like to blame anybody. I don't have any of the facts, but it's weird.
Javeyah.
I mean, I just don't want to, here we go.
Like what she would tell me, like, oh, it's been people doing this, and then the third round the house, they've been called, like they be on the phone with people like around the house, like just talking and walking real slow and things like that. And like I've been telling them that, but
they live in a
How are you
trailer
doing
park.
through all of this?
I mean, I didn't got.
It's okay.
I didn't got a little bit of it out, but it's like not knowing is killing me. It's killing me, like, because, like, I mean, you see stuff like this often, but you don't expect it to be you.
And is the mother, is she your wife?
No, she's not my wife. She was my girlfriend.
Okay. How is she doing?
Okay. Javeyah's mother was his girlfriend. Javeyah's last name is Harris. Her father's last name is Harris. John Maria or Joe Maria. I don't know how to pronounce his name. So please, if someone has a proper pronunciation, please let me know. Well, I can just imagine is that the house was in deplorable conditions straight through. Then you don't hear my big mouth.
Here we go.
Like late, thick, maybe like early 7. It was probably around like 6, and I got back to the house maybe around 7:15 because my girl and my daughter said they wanted some candy, like she wanted some suckers and she wanted some cookies, and I had went to like three stores maybe in between.
How does that make sense? Why do you need 3 different stores?
And I had got some drinks, like some little Mad Dogs and stuff like that. And,
some little Mad Dogs. Y'all know what that is. It's alcohol.
I went back to
Had to go get his alcohol. You need a little Mad Dog 2020. All right, here we go.
dry the clothes because I was watching them.
Wow.
I was sitting there for a little minute, and I ended up going to another store. Like these 3 stores that I'm saying, like I sold the 3 stores already, but I went to a store last.
Gotcha.
And I was back at the washing machine that was right beside the Circle K. And then when I was at the Circle K, I was seeing a lot of police and stuff going through. And I was wondering, I was like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff goes on in Aiken to where like you would be like, okay, it's the police or whatever. But I didn't know that it was my house. My girlfriend at the time, she didn't have service. She didn't have service on her phone, so she couldn't call me to let me know anything that was going on. So she just ended up calling 911. So when I came back to the house, before I got on my road, I seen a police.
Okay, I'm gonna move past that a minute, so
and then that's when I started
get back to because I know that they were talking.
And I'm like,
all right, hang on.
With that, with her, is she known to do that?
No, she does not run away, but I will say that she is friendly.
Okay, we'll get past that.
She couldn't be tested until she was 4 years old.
Okay, so it's on. You guys just don't know.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. We never got her tested, and she's never given us signs that
Thank
she
you.
is,
Thank you.
autistic.
Thank you so much. Yes. Vicky Moss, thank you. He is lying. Something is so wrong with his story here. It makes no sense at all. And yeah, we're talking about this. We're thinking to myself, the story doesn't make any sense. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. He doesn't even sound upset. And again, I have to always go back to the chicken coop story, which is what the lady, the pregnant lady was talking about, this chicken coop story. I'm so confused about that part. What the hell is going on here? Anyway, so good to see you. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. Yeah.
She got more respect than me. Like, sir.
Yeah.
I don't.
Crazy.
I don't like. It's really wild. But I had, like I said, I gave all of these detectives this information about people around the house lately. Like since I started work, like from Friday, well Thursday really, but from Friday to Monday, I had to work. I was working night shifts, and every time I left, my girl would like what she would tell me like, oh, it's been people doing this, and then the third round the house they've been called, like they be on the phone with people like around the house, like just talking.
I mean, does that make any sense? Yeah, Vicky says, because I hear it in his voice of guilt and some sort. Yeah, there's something weird about his voice too. And back at the beginning when we were first talking about this, there's another. Yeah, it's too nonchalant. You're right, Vicky. It is. It's too nonchalant. And there was this deal about talking about a child being in their pajamas in a chicken coop at 8:30 at night. No. And there's no scent. No scent. Okay, so it's every red flag you can see. And I'm thinking Jack and Lily, Jack and Lily, Jack and Lily. That's all I can see right here going on.
Yeah, walking real slow and
crazy
things like that. And I've been telling them that. But
how are you doing through all of this?
Yeah, okay.
I didn't got.
It's okay.
I didn't got a little bit of it out, but it's like not knowing is killing me.
Yeah. Okay.
It's killing me, like, because like you see stuff like this often, but
you know what? We're gonna go off of that one. Let me see if there is. Hang on just a second. Let me see if there's other things coming up. Search continues. That was 6 hours ago. Let's talk about the red flags. Now, this is Joseph Morris, okay? So we're going to give full credit to Joseph Morris, and he's going to give us some red flags here. All right.
He started noticing something else.
Okay. Joseph Morris. Okay, hang on, guys. Let me get full credit to him, and then we'll get this going. Hang on. Credit to Joe. Okay. So full credit to Joseph Morris. We're going to use a little bit of his work over here. Oh, now. There we go. Let's see. Is it going to work right? Oh, my damn thing over here. Sometimes my little shift key is not working right on this damn laptop, and it's just driving me insane. Anyway. Morris. And we need to give credit to his channel. And so here we go. Okay, so we're going to play his, and I'm also going to grab his channel so we can drop his link, because that's what you're supposed to do whenever you're using somebody else's work like this. So here we go. Now, we'll get this going right here. Okay, here we go. This is Joseph Morris.
With local reporters, the father of a missing 4-year-old girl described her like this, quote, "She was friendly, she was respectful, she was a real smart kid," end quote. Was, not is, was. She's been missing for days, not years, and her own father is already speaking about her like she's gone. The girl is 4-year-old Javeyah Harris, and the update that dropped right after that interview made things even stranger. According to her family, Javeyah's mother went into labor with another child the same night Javeyah vanished. And online, people following the case started noticing something else. Claims that she hadn't actually been seen in about 2 months, long before anyone reported her missing. Javeyah disappeared from her family's home in Aiken County, South Carolina on Tuesday night.
Had not been seen at that home in 2 months per other people. See, I mean, that is what is, I think, see, this is what makes me, you search the chicken coop, you search that chicken coop, and it can throw, it can. Okay, great. I was wondering about that myself as to why they were using that damn story about this chicken coop. But think about this. Now we've got people over there saying, well, they hadn't seen a kid over there in months. Well, I guess, and that's why it goes back to what I was thinking, like, okay, well, they know she's going to have this other baby, and it's time for them to go to the hospital. They got to do something before they leave without getting a babysitter for this baby or this other child. So they got to report her missing now. It just makes no sense. And I'm glad everybody else is seeing some red flags too. Here we
Last
go.
seen around 8:15 p.m. near Hillsborough Street and Ridgecrest Road. She was wearing pink Minnie Mouse pajamas and Crocs with pink braided hair. She's about 3.5 feet tall and weighs about 40 pounds. Investigators say she loves chasing chickens and that she's small enough to fit into tight spaces, which is why searchers have been checking under decks, inside sheds.
And Jack and Lily love to look for bugs, remember? And they like to look for bugs, and they were looking for bugs. Okay, yeah, right. Here we go, same story. Here we go.
And anywhere else a small child could hide. Within hours of the report, this turned into a massive operation. Law enforcement searched more than 3,000 acres using ground crews, helicopters, and drones. The FBI, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, and multiple local agencies all joined the search. The sheriff's office said they're not accepting volunteer searchers because untrained people could accidentally interfere with the investigation or missed something important. And so far, no Amber Alert has been issued because officials say the case doesn't currently meet the criteria, though the state says one could still go out if new information comes in. But here's where the father's interview really stands out. A local news station caught up with him by phone, and before he even got into what happened, he spent most of it talking about how he found out and how it affected him. Then he was asked directly whether Javeyah would just wander off on her own. This is what he said, quote, "No."
Let me see. Yeah, Coupon says, let me see, y'all. I got to catch up with y'all now. So Coupon says, why would any parent let a 4-year-old go out to a chicken coop at 8 p.m. at night? Thank you. No, they wouldn't. Vicky Moss is going, it's probably been 2 months and she was going to have that baby. So they had to do something because people were going to be asking where she was. Dad and girlfriend is guilty. Thank you, Vicky Moss. There's something extremely wrong. I agree with Vicky about this story. And you know what? And anybody that knows me and have watched my channel before knows I don't want to blame parents. I don't know anything about them. I don't want to falsely accuse anybody. But in this case, it's just sounding so Jackie Lily. I can't help myself. I just, because I feel wrong about falsely accusing parents when it comes to missing children. Because I mean, listen, I had a child missing and he was found deceased on that 3rd day. I understand. And that's why you don't want to blame anybody when you don't have any facts, right? You don't want to do that because you know how that feels. When you've been, anyway, I just can't do that to other people. But this story is just bugging me. There's something about this story that's bugging me. Here, we'll keep playing this.
She does not run away, but I will say she is friendly. Like she's friendly. Like she doesn't like, it's not a stranger danger thing with her. It's not like oh, get away from me. Like she didn't get that. She didn't understand it. She was just all friendly to everybody. She was very respectful. Like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. Like that's what she do. We raised her great. Like she was a real smart kid, end quote. So just listen to how many times he shifts into past tense while describing a girl who at that point had only been missing for a couple of days. He also talked about the moment he learned she was gone. He said he'd been at the laundromat and when he got home, Javeyah's mother came up to him crying and told him their daughter was missing. His reaction in his own words was that he kind of freaked out. Not long after that same night or the day after, her mother went into labor. But there's another detail that doesn't line up. When deputies put out their request for help, they asked the public to send in any home security or doorbell camera footage from June 15th through June 30th. The problem is, Javeyah wasn't reported missing until the 30th. So that's a 2-week window investigators are asking about for a child who was supposedly seen right up until the day she disappeared. And at one point during the search, a deputy actually told a reporter on camera that the case was being treated as an abduction. Within hours, the sheriff's office walked that back and called it misspeak, saying it's still classified as a missing child investigation, not a confirmed abduction. Former neighbors have also come forward saying they're deeply concerned for Javeyah's safety. Several claim they used to look after her regularly because of ongoing substance use in the home. They say the state had already been involved with this family before Javeyah ever went.
Listen, what do we always say? Every time you get a kid in this situation, CPS has already been involved in that house. And here we are, right here. Here it is again, CPS involved in the house. Damn it. Here we go.
Missing. Now that same family is at the center of an FBI investigation. So I'll be honest, something about this doesn't add up for me. A camera request for 2 weeks before a child was supposedly seen every day, a father who can't stop talking about himself before he talks about his own daughter, and who keeps sliding past tense, a mother going into labor the same night her daughter disappears, neighbors saying they've basically been raising this child themselves. None of these pieces really fit all together the way they should if this simply was a toddler who wandered off. So I'll ask you directly, if you were the one raising alarm bells before the police even confirmed anything was wrong, what part of the story would you be asking about first? So if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe and leave a comment because I try to.
All right. See, I have to agree with Mr. Morris over here. So you've got all these neighbors saying all these things. We've had CPS involved. They're saying they haven't seen the child, but they were kind of helping take care of the child because the other things were going on at this house. And you're going to tell me there was not one person with a camera in that neighborhood that was there was no ring cameras, no nothing. Nobody saw anything. You would have seen a kid in a chicken coop. You would have seen a kid walking down the street. You would have seen a kid walking away somewhere, and there's no scent. When is this truth going to come out? When are the, oh my God, y'all, my God, it's just so heartbreaking. That's a beautiful little girl. Now, how could you be upset with that little girl? What is going on in that house that makes me ill? Y'all know what makes me ill. I mean, yeah, I mean, I just can't. I just had to talk about her for a little bit today too. I mean, they're, oh my God. Anyway, I guess we've been on here almost 2 hours and 19 minutes. So I guess we'll get off of here. But I just really wanted to come and talk about a couple of things today, because it's kind of bothering me a little bit about all of these situations. And so the 16 kids, I mean, now that they've sealed the records, that's going to be a big issue. We're not going to get information that I think we should have because, we not okay. Ellie does not owe us anything. That family does not owe us anything. But you gotta try. I mean, we really want to know how in the world can you be in a community and maybe do something better, right? Maybe do something better so that we don't have this kind of thing happen again. Maybe somebody look out for other people. Be nosy every once in a while. If you see something, say something. If you see a group of people coming into the store and every time they come into the store, their children look like this or they smell like this, make that phone call. Don't just ignore it. You see her going to this diaper pantry and getting diapers and formula, and she's needing to come more than once. She's trying to come twice, but they're not allowing her to do this. There's a problem. You could tell by looking at her there was a problem, and nobody called anybody to help. Really? Yeah. Cameras need to go back to 2 months. They're trying to see things from 2 months ago or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, they need to go back quite a while back because something is not right about this story. So, I mean, between the 16 kids and now this little girl and all the other missing children that we see on YouTube, that just really crushes your heart. I mean, Couponing and some of my other friends, they know I don't really like to talk about these missing kids because it just hurts my heart. But today I just had to because I'm seeing this happen and I'm seeing this going down a road and I'm seeing this. Something's not right. Something's not right. And I just want justice for these children. I just want God to bring them home so that they can either be put to rest or be given back to their parents that love them. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, as I always say, thank you for coming in. I hope you enjoyed our show. Please like, subscribe, and share. I always forget to say that, but I'm going to say it. Please like, subscribe, and share. Come on back next time. Our next show is going to be Sprinkle Donut and I. We're going to do our team, and we're going to talk about Casey Anthony and Gypsy Rose Blanchard. We're going to do a little comparison because I'm going to tell you something. They might not have done the same crime. Some things might be a little different, but you basically are the same person. They are the same people, right? So the name of the show is called 2 Books, 2 Lies, 1 Truth. That's going to be our show. I think we're going to do it tomorrow, or I think maybe tomorrow night or Sunday. I'm not sure. We're not sure yet, but we're going to get it together and we're actually going to do that one next. So y'all go have a happy 4th of July. Go enjoy some fireworks. Be safe out there. Be careful out there. And I'll see y'all next time you come. I really enjoyed seeing you tonight. And like I always say, hey, take care of yourself. Be safe. Go hug your babies. Life is short and our time with them is even shorter. And you know what? I do say that every time I come live. And the people that watch my show all the time, they know I say it. But I have a reason to say it because the one thing you never want to have is regret. You don't ever want to have that moment where you think, God, if I could have just hugged them one more time. So good night.